In this episode of the Kita Anime Podcast, festivals and beaches galore!
Magical rod.
And cuteness will lead the way to victory! All that more coming up. The show begins in 3, 2, 1. It's time for the Ktdata Anime Podcast with Dito and Ktdata. The Ktdata Anime Podcast is brought to you by Writing Reviews. Sometimes you love something so much you just can't stop writing about it. Hey everybody, welcome to the Ktdata Anime Podcast. I am Ktdata.
And I'm Dito.
And this is the podcast where Dito and I sit around the campfire on a nice Sunday night or a nice summer night and we talk about anime.
And drinking Slurpees.
Yeah, well...
Product placement.
Yeah, and when we say campfire, we mean the glow of our monitors, because we're cool like that.
Well, we got apps for that. We could put a campfire in our monitors.
It's true. Hey, Dito.
And the heat from... Anyways.
Yeah. Hey, Dito, how are you doing? I have not talked to you in a while.
I wonder why. Someone who doesn't read the messages.
I didn't get it. You can blame Facebook and their crazy messaging thing that doesn't work on there.
I just blame you in general, because sometimes you read those, sometimes you don't.
I'd read them if I got them.
Lies and slander.
All right, so if you guys, first time watching the Ktdata Anime Podcast, first of all, welcome to the show. And second of all, you're probably going, well, so what are these animes that you're watching and stuff? Don't fret. We have it all taken care of for you. So all you got to do is go to ktdata.net, search for episode 2 of the spring 2014 season, and you can look in the show notes, and there are links to all the animes we were talking about, and you can stream them. No special things. You just, at most you got to have Flash installed. But everybody has Flash installed, right?
No.
All right, Dito, let's jump into our first anime right here.
さらに凄まじい苦労の連続となる。
And our first anime of the night is Nisekoi, and it's brought to you by Freebies. If your boyfriend's family runs the place, why not? It's only a handout. All right. So, last episode, we finally meet another dad in this ever-growing harem of dads, finding part-time work, and after 2 years, the exchange of emails. Dun, dun, dun. All right, Dito. So, literally, these 2 episodes of Nisekoi, I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty much the grandiose combination of fanboy or fan service episodes. We have a festival episode, and we also have a beach episode.
Which is okay. So we'll just go and say what the little fandoms are. So festivals. What's the best thing about a festival?
Well,
food, entertainment,
girls in yukatas,
kimonos. But that's not the real reason why. It is to get a special matchmaking satchel of matchmakingness, also known as a super ultra matchmaking item.
Doesn't that feel like something you'd go on a quest to get in an MMO somewhere?
Well,
actually, like kill 12 elks and bring it back to the NPC.
Well, in this case, it was to fight a crowd or literally a wave of people and follow a calico cat. So it sounds something along the lines of Alice in Wonderland.
Except less shrooms.
I think there was a lot of shrooms. There's actually a koi, catching a koi with a was it the little fish, a goldfish scooper game.
When I saw that giant one in there, all I could think of is Koizira.
Koizira.
On there, they thought they got him, but no. But technically, wouldn't that break the rules? Because the koi broke the paper even more.
Well,
because there was no paper left.
Well, you caught it with the scooper. That he was catching those without this paper anyways, because Chikoge broke the paper to begin with.
And then we also learn a new thing about Chikoge, that she's a gold digger. Ain't nothing but a gold digger. Because he finds out apparently the Yakuza, they like running booths. I'm having a hard time connecting this. Organized crime running Japanese festival booths.
Not just that. What gets me is the fact alone that Raku is on break or not working, yet he's helping at the booths.
Yeah, I don't know. It worries me though. Like, these guys are supposed to be like violent criminals and stuff, but have you seen any side of these criminals like get anywhere violent these days? They're just like lounging around 90% of the time. Shouldn't they be going on like drug runs or something? Not that I'm an expert on like organized crime at all, but shouldn't the movies tell me things?
We'll say this is G-rated stuff. So what it's kind of like the difference between Disney and Miramax. So Miramax is kind of that other side of itself, while Nisekoi is in the Disney G realm. So stuff that actually happens with the Yakuza and everything itself is kind of not shown. So they see the happy-go-lucky side.
I guess so. And it's actually, I thought of it. All of this is just elaborate money laundering schemes. That's what this is. Elaborate money laundering.
It is actually. It's like, yeah, KT's onto something.
Yeah. It's like, how much money did you make at the festival? Oh, $500,000. Whoa. It's like, yeah, everybody loves our squid balls.
Apparently, so much that Chikoge is like, I want squid balls. Then come over here. Not only are they better over here, but I can give it for free.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me, it's like, if anyone out there has ever gone on a date, besides us, that where it's like everything was just given to you. It's just like, say that your family ran a festival or a fair, the local town fair and everything itself, and you could just go to anyone, get whatever food you want and whatever games you want to play, all for free. How would you not want to exploit that?
It's awkward. Been there, done that, and it's awkward because everybody looks at you.
Exactly. It's so the Chikoge is just like going, so how about you go on a date with me? It's like it's all free. It's not like it's gonna matter. It's just
stupid
like
gorilla.
I
know. And then so there was only one goal for Raku this entire episode, was to get the super ultra matchmaking item, and it sells out within seconds. This is like the Nisekoi's version of a bag of crap, which I just barely won one, so keep an eye out for another bag of crap opening. Yeah, on there.
Yeah, that crashed the servers again.
On there. And so he's trying to get that, and it's supposed to give super, super like awesome luck with you in relationships. But what it didn't tell you, it comes with instructions. We'll get to the instructions in a second. But what I realized is that it works super, super fast, because Kurosaki and Raku, they were in this huge crowd, and somehow Raku got his hand on one. I don't know how he paid with one hand, but okay, we'll just go with it on there.
Go gadget paying finger.
Yeah, on there. And so he gets it, and he's holding it in the hand, and the crowd, you know how what happens when you're in a giant crowd. People try to get through anyway, whatnot on there. So he loses her, and then he sees another hand, and he grabs it, and magically Kurosaki turns into Onodera. I'm like, that's some potent crap right there, man.
Where can I get some of that?
Yeah.
Like, where can I get some of that? Seriously. But then again, I don't really see it being that potent, because he already has a harem. They're already there. And yeah, if it was another random girl, then one would all have to hate Raku more, because he's the luckiest dentist person next to yeah. Anyways, we can name off a bunch of them, but we're not going to. But yeah, it's just like, if Onodera, if Chikoge magical girled herself into Onodera, then yes. With the whole scene and everything.
Yes. So yeah, and I love this. And then so what happens is Kurosaki gets separated from the two, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I wonder if too bad there's no such thing as this device in the day that we live in that you could instantly contact the other person if you got separated. Nothing like that would exist, right?
Well, that, and also the fact. Sorry, I just got completely sidetracked with something else that just came up, and I'll talk to you about that in a bit, because I think it will actually relate to something we're talking about later. Anyways, Don't just love it when you get random messages from friends, especially when they're nerd raging about stuff.
On there, I'm just like, this is one of those situations where a phone would be amazing, right?
Nah, I mean,
they make this high point in the last episode that they get email accounts, and on this one, apparently nobody brings their phones to festivals anymore.
which is funny to say because speaking of phones, but like, how would you not be able to, like, if you ever lose your friends somewhere, it's like the first thing that comes to my mind is to text them, call them, hell, maybe even
Smoke signals.
It's like everyone uses vapors now, so it's just
So I was like, really? Wow. Let's just overlook this. But then again, we are talking about some of the densest people in the world.
well, not just that. So here comes down to this too. So they lose. So Raku loses Chikoge, but finds Onodera. Then not only does he luck out, but he also gets to carry her, fix her shoe.
Ooh, who knew he was a shoesmith?
Yeah, and he's a shoesman. He's apparently a jack of all trades, and very dense as hell. But then a cat takes it and then ends up meeting everyone else, and then
sends mixed signals to everybody.
And sends mixed signals to everyone. So it's just like going. That is one potent charm.
Yeah. See, and it works. I wonder how much he paid for it. $5?
I don't think he
$10?
did. I don't think he did.
Stole it?
I think probably stole it. Yeah.
It's more potent when you steal it.
Yeah. It's just like when you get free food. It always tastes better.
Oh man. And then so now everybody's separated. Onodera's having their mini date, and both of them are freaking out like crazy on there. And then Kurosaki, she's walking, and she just happens to walk by the giant sign that has the instructions for the super ultra matchmaking charm. And tell people what the last instruction on there says.
So, the matchmaking charm is usually for men to give to as a so-called proposal to a girl. So, if you have a charm and you give it to a girl, that's pretty much saying that you're proposing to him. And Raku, being the dense SOB as he is, gives it to Kurosaki
because he feels bad for ditching her.
So it's like this thing that she has no ambition or doesn't really know what it is up until she reads a sign, has any interest in this just because she found it because the cat dropped it, gave it back to him, and now she's just kind of like, and he's just like, I feel so bad to sell. So here's this charm I just happened to steal, and I'm giving it to you because I don't see the sign right here.
Yeah, because I am also blind, selectively blind. It was dark. We'll give him that.
No, it's not.
And there ensues one of the greatest misunderstood conversations ever. But it brings up a good point. Kurosaki's trying to figure out why she's freaking out so much over it. Normally she'd just punch him in the face or something. But she's like, why am I freaking out so much about this? So, could that mean anything?
Yes, it means one thing itself. You know what that is, KT?
The next episode?
Nope. The misconception of you have to wear underwear under yukatas.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know.
By the way, you're supposed to. Just so you know. Just so everyone knows, you're supposed to wear underwear underneath them.
Yeah. Apparently, I'm not an expert in them. Tito has more experience in yukatas than I do.
Kimonos, yes.
Yeah. So
not yukatas.
So we've talked about one of the two, fan service tropes that they always bring up in all these animes. Now we come up to the favorite one that Dito and I like to do. You ready for this, Dito?
No, but we're gonna do it anyways.
Right. This is the beach episode. I was worried you wouldn't get it because we got the swimming pool episode and the hot springs episode, but they're like, we're going to 20 episodes. We're gonna stick all the tropes in.
And that's the funny part too. So, and normally in this, like the way that they had set up, it's gonna be, I figured it'd just be like half the episode would be for the beach, and then the other half would be to like, do some more story. Nope. Whole thing.
Nope. Totally fan service.
I don't know how they could not fit more. I mean, this is how much the beach episode is waited for. Even Ruri, our wingman, is completely excited to get in that water.
Yeah.
Yeah, she jumps right. Like first 20 seconds of the show, boom, in the water.
Yeah. And then we learn important things. One of them, sunscreen is very important, and it's very selective on who puts sunscreen on who for it to work.
Yes. And also another thing we found out about this too is it just went completely Yuri.
Yep. And so we got some Yuri, we got some SPF Raku, we got barbecue. Barbecue is always good. Which means Raku ended up cooking for everybody.
Shu has it planned out. As soon as food's involved itself, Raku's number one on there. Speaking of too, how in the world does Raku peel a potato like a banana?
So this is how it works. His denseness is so thick that it emanates through the potato, so he can just peel it. No problem right there. It's just so magical like that, where the skin's like, yeah, I got nothing with this dense guy.
I thought I was dense. The answer is potato.
Yeah, and then we find out that Onodera, she may not be good at making sweets, but she's great at decorating them and making sandcastles. And I literally like face palmed when I saw the sandcastle that she was making, because did you notice that was an Attack on Titan sandcastle?
Yeah, it took me a second too. I'm like, why are their faces? Oh,
yeah, because I'm like, that face looks really familiar. That looks like that one mini Titan that we saw everywhere. And then I saw Eren standing on top of them. I'm like, oh, and there's the giant wall, and yeah.
I caught the one that was like right in the beginning of the screen when I saw a leg or a foot or an arm hanging out of the mouth. I'm like, oh, I get this.
Yeah.
There's so many homages in this too. It's like you get some just little tidbits of like anime references, like going up to Mari's apartment itself. That was an Evangelion reference there. You know, you just kind of get them every so often.
You get these nisekoi guys. They watch anime too. They don't only just make it; they watch it and they enjoy it on there.
And make fun of it.
Yeah. So I wanted to play a little game with you in this because I thought it'd be fun on there. So there's that scene where Onodera and Raku are sitting on a pier or something like that. And then all of a sudden, Onodera, in her mindless state, I love Onodera when she's not thinking because it's awesome. She accidentally says, "Can I kiss you?" on there. And then Kurosaki...
KT, before you finish that itself, no.
Fine.
No, it's
fine. Where's Sparky?
As cool as a co-host you
Sparky!
are and everything too, I don't swing that way.
Sparky. All right. So they're standing there, and then Kurosaki's at the end of the pier because she was coming to grab them, saying that they're headed to the inn or something. And then she thinks that she misheard, "Can I kiss you?" So I'm just thinking, like, what other words can rhyme with "Can I kiss you?" And the one that Kurosaki thinks is, "Do you like is kimchi good for you?" on there. So I've been thinking of all these. I mean, because we there could be there could be some of the basic ones like "I dismiss you," or
Well, we're also talking another language too, so it would be Antana no Kisu Onigai. So
see, the other one I was thinking is "Can I frisk you?" So it's a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we just hit a whole new realm of weirdness at the KT or like Kita Anime podcast. I'm feeling very uncomfortable all of a sudden.
So I was just thinking, like, what are some other things you could misinterpret? It's hard, and I was like, "Can I smith you?" Swordsmith.
Hold on while I make a hilt for you. Let me bang your steel. Okay,
whoa! That's right. Dito went there, not me.
Must be he must be a furnace because it's getting hot in here. Let me go smelt something.
Oh man. And then so Onodera, after she does that, she freaks out and runs off on there. And then Kurosaki comes up, and Kurosaki flat out, she does the hypothetical but actual asking question where she's like, "So say we were really together, you think that would work?" And Raku, he's freaking out. She's freaking out with the answer out there. So Raku tries to play it cool. And that's one thing Raku does right? When he plays it cool. He's like, absolutely not. And they go,
Just like Sparky, who just said that, then I shall blow up your house with combustible lemons. So when life gives you lemons,
get a Sparky
get a Sparky. She'll make combustible lemons.
on there. And then, so it was so bad that Kurosaki and Raku don't even talk for the rest of the summer break, which is a long time. It's at least 2 months right there.
Yeah, and then there's also Coons who hasn't been in here yet, which I did mention that we will be making fun of him on the show.
And then we find out Shu, when school gets back in session, he has nominated himself for yet another festival. we're getting almost as many festivals as in Log Horizon.
I know, it's just like one festival to another, but this one is different. This one is actually the school festival, and the Shu unappointedly presented himself as leader of this too, and tells everyone to shut up, which is hilarious. That they're doing a play, not just any play, but Romeo and Juliet.
No, it's a classic play though.
Well, not just any play. It's the Romeo and Juliet, starring none other than our fake couple, which Kurosaki turned down.
So we'll have to see what the final 2 episodes do, because remember, they're going to 20 episodes, and we're up to 18 already. So I'm excited to see how this wraps up. So whose team are you on right now? Are you on Team Tachibana, Team Onodera, or Team Kurosaki?
As of right now, I'm actually on Team Tachibana.
I'm on Team Kurosaki. All the way, man. All the way on there. And we'll see how they end up this. Another prediction. Are they going to do the traditional harem ending where he doesn't pick anybody and they just go on and have more go-lucky adventures, or you imagine? Or is he going to actually pick someone? And are we ever going to talk about the keys again?
I was about to say that, Mike. I'm still waiting for them to talk about the keys again. They just kind of like overshadowed that this whole point was the keys.
Yeah.
This is like this giant locket that is now Kurosaki broke her key in.
Which they never showed him getting it back, but somehow he got it back.
No, he hasn't got it back. They haven't shown it since then.
Man.
He hasn't had it on him since then. And then we have 2 other keys that hasn't been introduced yet, except for in the ending of one of the last episodes we just watched. And that's when I'm like, wait a minute, where are those keys?
Yeah. So
where's a massive anchor for a key that Tachibana has?
Yeah. So we'll find out in the next Ktdata Anime podcast. And we'll go on to our next anime right here.
私は龍河城77
And our next anime is Ryugajo Nana no Maizuken, and it's brought to you by
The Wish-Giving Rod. Rod.
He said Rod.
Our last episode, we see what it takes to live with a ghost.
Ooh.
What does it take to pass an exam? And what it means to cross into God's territory. Not just any God's territory, the ghost God territory. Anyways, so
I actually wonder, can she control her corporeal state? Does she have to be all solid, or can just parts of her be solid?
Depends on how much pudding she's been eating. I think that's what actually keeps her state is the pudding.
The pudding brings her back from the interdimensional travels.
Or something like that. So our ragtag team of adventurers have now figured out where their next target is, which so happens to be this tower of
glass thing
above her,
which is a mall.
Yeah. I don't know what.
Yeah.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you get 7 or is it 9? 7 kids to build a city on a Dubai city in the Pacific Ocean.
And they happen to have sense. Yeah, they happen to have unlimited funds. We also find out that Nanana, she doesn't tell you things. She gives you things in puzzles, and then you also have to role play to get them.
Vague puzzles. She
probably wasted a good half cup of pudding on what's his face.
It's okay. It's okay. It's a 90. It's that 100 yen pudding that she doesn't like anyways.
That's expensive for pudding, dude.
It is
98 cents for pudding.
not to mention too, it's like I'm surprised that she's that picky about it. I mean, I figured she says pudding just kind of like doom.
Yeah, for a cup.
It's like a Jello shot.
Like that is really expensive. $1 for a cup of pudding. Holy crap!
I know, and I would hate to see what like that like special pudding she likes so much. It's like how much that would cost
$10
for a set.
cup.
Yeah. So, anyways, so we find their next objective, which happens to be this kind of tube glass maze, so to speak. But not just anything too. The moment you get past, once you like start going down the maze, pieces of it behind you start falling, but then they reappear soft.
Yeah, via the mechanicals. So it's like a mechanical spider. And the rules are it can break 2 pathways at once, but it only can rebuild one. And then what happens is it starts in that spongy thing and then it hardens into the glass tunnel.
Within like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Spongy.
Yeah, so lack of just explaining everything itself, they make it to the treasure.
Bring.
And what do they find in the treasure box? But
a rod. A rod of wishes.
Yes, a rod of wishes. It's known as the wizard's cane, or as the devoid von Zamus that makes wishes come true. You know, it sounds like a very powerful weapon, doesn't it?
You know what that rod reminds me of? It reminds me of the rod that the bad guy in the Smurfs movie has to get, Gargamel has to get, because it looks like that too. And where he takes the Smurf power and go.
The fact that you said that too, it actually is like, yo, you're right. I actually never put those two together until this moment. Wow, we're old. And for all those who remember Smurfs and not the movie, we're talking cartoon Smurfs. Yeah, that dates you. Anyways. But Ishe, the leader of the ragtag team, decides to take it. He double crosses everyone just to get this rod of wishes.
Yeah, Dino said rod. And have you discovered everybody in this anime has high blood pressure?
Yes, I mean, well, when you are in a suspension bridge on a chest with a
person
master
of the
detective.
Opposite sex.
Yeah, with a master detective of the opposite sex, and you have to hug each other. Yeah, it's like you have high blood pressure because, yeah.
I think they need to eat less salty foods. That will get the blood pressure down.
I think Jugo needs to stop eating the ramen. Stop eating, like actually get real ramen, not getting.
I know,
not the little cup of noodles.
Because there's a lot of salt content on there. There's I think it's 50 to 100% of your daily sodium intake in one of those things.
That's a lot of sodium. Let's live off a high carb salt diet.
At least he gets exercise in his beatings.
Yes, he gets a lot of exercise in his beatings with the rod
or the female cops.
Yeah, they're both. There was one female, one male. They beat the living out of him. Anyways, let's go into the
so we find out
of this rod.
We find out what Yuga's plans are, and it is to take over the world. And when I heard that, I'm like, Pinky and the Brain, Pinky and the Brain.
It's
one is a genius, the other insane.
Which is actually pretty true to this, just for the fact alone that, really, it's like you have a rod of wishes,
and rod.
that you can't just ask for world domination right there. I mean, instead, what he does, he's like burn, win.
Yeah,
he basically calls Captain Planet at this point.
Yeah, and he has the most terrible battle tactics ever because we have Jugo. He's trying to fight him to get it back. And so let's go through his attacks. First, he starts off with a fire attack. That's dangerous. You could burn somebody to death. Then you do ice attacks. Hypothermia is a bitch on there. And then impale attacks. That's really bad, because you never know where the ground's going to just rise up and stab you, right?
But then it's the funny part, too. So, he's not... Jugo's really good at moving around and stuff. So, it's tactical speaking itself after he does this, too. So, you go from fire, ice, earth... So that means you must stop him in place and then blow him.
Yes.
With a rod.
I was like, seriously, how stupid could you be? I would have started out with probably the opposite order. use the blow away attack, then freeze him, and then impale him, and then burn and freeze him some more.
Why not? If he has the ability to, like, if this is a rod of wishes, that why doesn't he just say die?
Yeah,
or disappear, or commit suicide?
Yeah,
something that actually it's like if he has the ability to rule the world, then why doesn't he just say something like be my slave, or worship?
Wrong enemy.
Yeah.
On there. So I'm like, come on, Yuga.
Gears?
No wonder you're going to lose. Your battle tactics are terrible.
I know. And not to mention, too, it's like the rod of wishes. Rod. We're never going to get away from that.
Nope.
But it's as powerful it is, it's not limitless.
Yeah. So just like Gargamel's scepter, he runs out of Smurf juice. This scepter runs out of Smurf juice.
Smurf juice. The Smurf juice in a rod.
Yeah. So he runs out, and Jugo's like, yeah, look at me. I'm awesome. I'm still standing. I'm going to mentally break you down instead of punching you. And then he gets slapped in the face.
Yeah, he gets body chopped. But this comes down to Tensai decides to intervene and take care of some business.
Taking care of business.
Now, moving along, because, that's not important, really. Yeah. But this is actually. So, Jugo had a secret. We're not going to really get too much into the details behind it, but it does have to deal with
He has daddy issues.
Yes, he has very bad. He has a lot of daddy issues, and his I have met this incredible blonde that is all over me, not in the way that I would had thought of.
Yeah.
But he does have this one thing. His one thing. His daddy did say one thing that made me laugh. That I like the way that he put it is the best way I can say it. Is without hopefully not breaking copyright by saying this, but with great power it holds great responsibility.
Excelsior,
or something like that. But yeah, that's what Daddy had to say.
Yes. So speaking of great power and responsibility, let's go through Blank and their venture to get great power and responsibility.
Yeah.
And our final anime of the night is No Game, No Life, and it's brought to you by Emotos. Victory was never so cute. All right, in the last episode, we see the 10,000 meter skydive. We learned about the 10 rules of the land and what it takes to be a king.
And it's a lot easier than you think. You just have to be good at gambling.
I thought you needed like bell bottoms and like slick back hair and a guitar.
Well, that, and also you have to be really good at bluffing. So, speaking of we do have we now are upon the battle for kingdom, which happens to be an oversized chessboard.
Yes. They come in and they say for the final, because they do it in the I love this. They do it in kind of like that wedding style where like, does anybody want to challenge Clammy Zell, which is a terrible name, for kingdom, or she shall be the king? And of course, what's his name? Sora. He comes in, Phoenix Wright style. Objection.
And I love it too because he has the music playing on his phone.
Yes. Coming in, he comes in and like, I have a problem with this, and so they decide, all right, we won't play poker because he kind of calls them out about cheating on there. It's like, we'll play a fair game, and it just happens to be on a giant chessboard. But this is no simple game of chess,
It's apparently one that measures your combat will and authority for basically being a king or of a figurehead of sort.
Yeah, how well you can be a leader, because that's how the troops respond. So if you're not that, if you're too compassionate a leader, they won't follow your orders. But if you're too, commanding of a leader, they'll still defect you because they think you're nuts and are willing to just sacrifice people for bloodlust.
in this case, Shiro was the tactician and everything itself, just telling them exactly where to go. But when you tell someone to go, they're not going to be willingly want to kill themselves. So that means she can't sacrifice anything.
She wasn't willing to let them spill blood on there. So that's when the other half of Blank comes in and decides to rally the troops with some amazing rewards. Would you not want to be part of this army? So
I couldn't help but to laugh so much too, because it's like he shows overwhelming authority, but then he kind of does what a lot of authority people do, and kind of offers a little too much than he can really give.
And I don't know how anatomically correct these chess pieces are.
No,
think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he offers all those, and so he rallies the troops on there. But what's her face? Zell. She still has a couple more tricks. Clammy. Oh, that's such a terrible. Who names her kid Clammy? Seriously.
Does it say Zell? But we did have Final Fantasy VIII after all.
Zell at least sounds cooler than Clammy. Really? You look a little clammy, Dito. I
don't have a veil over my face.
On there. So she has other tricks up her sleeve with the help of the elves. So
the elves. So always about the elves.
So what happens is that her chess pieces, if any of Blank's chess pieces touch them, converts them to the other side. The other side.
Yes, because join the dark side. There is cookies.
Yes.
Or something.
It's always the cookies. So now they have to think of another way. And around this point, not Shiro. Why can't I remember the dude's name?
Sora. Think Sky.
Yeah.
Sora.
Sora, he's like, I'm going to win this game without anybody else dying, even though these are just fake chess pieces.
Not just really. I mean, so the queen is about to take the king's head in the chess game itself, and then Sora comes in and pretty much saves the king.
The Ritz.
Yeah, he converted it. Like he is such a smooth talker. Like apparently, since he's really good at dating sim games,
it's terrible.
He converts the troops on the other side to rally with them, and not only that is to convert even the other troops because he convinces them that their king is insane.
Yeah, and you notice how the queen looks a little close to Maleficent.
I wasn't gonna go there, but yeah.
I wonder if that was intentional. Maleficent now in theaters.
Product placement
on there. And I love the ultimate rally, and I will let you call out battle cry that rallied all the troops.
That if you're gonna fight for anything, fight for cuteness.
Yes.
I mean, like how else do you do that? It's just like here, fight. If you're gonna fight for anything, fight for the girl who shut off everything, shut off her heart to herself because cuteness wins everything. It's just like, ding. That makes almost no logical sense, but let's go.
It's the solution to life, Dito. Cuteness.
Yes. Emotos.
Yes. And then so after they become king, somehow somebody along the way reread the rules wrong, and they're like, so we can't have both of you being king and queen. You guys have to pick. And both sides are objection. Yeah,
so in other words, I guess what they did is they tried to play some old maid or whatever it's called. So like the last person with a joker loses. And they decided to play 500 games.
Well, they wanted to win 2 in a row. And the problem is they just kept going back and forth for 3 days.
Which is like, wow. But yeah, now long story short itself, they both are now king and queen.
Yes. So then they went back and looked at the rules and like, oh yeah, it doesn't say that one person has to be. It just says designated party.
Yeah, designated party with authority. So that brings us to the inauguration speech.
Yeah, and so what happens is Sora, he manages to rally all the troops in the world saying, be proud of being weak, and we're going to be better than everybody else because we're weak and we don't need magic and stuff. And
yeah, it's like thinking about all this fantasy, mystical stuff too. Humanity has no magical power, no apathy for like spirits and all that stuff, but yet they've fought alongside all these creatures and god killers, elementals, overpower magic of people, of things, and yet they still survive to this day.
Yes.
How is who knows? Because honey badger.
Yeah.
But it's like going, because we are weak, we're going to beat the strong.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, while they're doing their speech, this magical chess piece appears in front of them, and it is the race piece. And what happens is apparently these pieces will appear to the person who believes in their message, the message of the race the most. That is truly 110% into the belief and not just faking it. And
yes,
who better than two neats that love the game and always want to get their goal, right?
Yes, and then after you achieve the race piece, what's the first thing you want to do?
Where are all the ladies at?
That, and also declare war.
Yes.
It's because that during the piece, or during the chess game itself, Clammy was under the impression that she was getting helped by another race, by another exceed. In reality itself, they weren't. So
they're just that good.
Yeah, because the blank defeated her, who's obviously been known getting help from the elves, that they all can't actually attack because they have to figure out who's backing them.
Yes.
Which is a smart move.
So now everybody's locked up in this kind of Cold War trying to figure that out on there. And then Tet decides to come around and say, "Sup?" on there. And what we find out is that even the position of God is under the rules of the games. And they find out, since there are 16 races, 16 pieces on a chessboard, means if they can conquer all 16 races, they can play and go against Tet for the right of God in the world of Discord on there. And pretty much this whole thing is because Tet is a sore loser and wants a rematch.
And not to mention too, it's like, how can someone like this just, it's like he lost once. So that means when you're basically giving them this more experience and everything, how to beat him harder now.
Yes.
It's just like, okay, I can just challenge you again and beat you on my own turf. But no, what I'm going to do is make you beat 15 other races that can use magic, who can read minds, etc. And then then you can challenge me again. Yes. Because I am bored.
It's because. So we'll find out what happens. I'm kind of excited for this, to see what happens between all of it. It's a good start right now. It's not kind of lingering on there. What's sad, though, is this is the end of the Kita Anime podcast, for this episode at least, on there. If you guys have any feedback about any of the animes, tell us if you're on Team Kurosaki, Team Onodera, or Team Tachibana. Send us an email at kita@ktdata.net. We love getting emails. Or you can find us on the social media networks, such as Facebook, facebook.com/ktdatanet. Or you can find us on the Tweeters, twitter.com/ktdata, or /ahoy, baby. That would be Dito. You can guess who's KTData on there. Or if you are, I would love if you guys are listening after the show and not live, to please hit the subscribe button. It should look something like this. On there. So that way you can be sure to get the newest Kita Anime podcasts, and you don't have to go out and look for them. It comes to you. We come to you instead of you coming to us. And who doesn't love that? You can sit back and be like, podcast up here, and there it appears.
Dun dun dun. It's almost like magic.
Yep.
Like elven magic, and you can probably win chess games.
Yeah. And of course, I would always, if you want to watch live, come watch live. Our next episode will be June 17th, 2014. The chat room has been active tonight. I love all of you in the chat room. If I see you in person,
especially Sparky,
make sure you ask me for hugs. Sparky gets 2 hugs automatically. And you can
see, finally, Jeeves said finally.
Yeah. And you can find that at ktdata.net/live. Also, check out ktdata.net. Many things are coming. I have a long review of the Phone Joy coming up fairly soon on there.
Yes.
And I just can't stop writing about it.
because he likes phones. Speaking of coming into the chat room too, we did have Miss Coons again. Probably he's
You
sitting there.
smeghead coon.
He's sitting back there with his body pillow, of course. Just like completely there's an outbreak accompanying it.
Yeah, you gotta let those body pillows dry out sometime, dude. Just come spend an hour with us. It should be enough time for them to dry out.
Yeah, just chill with us with the podcast for like the duration of itself, and by the time you get back, it should be dry.
Yep. All right, Dito. Always a great podcast. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Thank you, all of you who are listening in any shape or form, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
2 weeks, guys. Poop.
My poop will always go on. Always go on.